Welcome everybody. That's 8 o'clock, so we're going to get started. I know there's some still people coming on, it seems like. So the first thing, as always, I do want to do with our meetings, any board meeting or any webinar or coach education that we hold, we always show the mission statement at the start and talk over it. So I want to show this again. It's the club's mission statement. It's something that when we're coaching and making decisions about facilities and tournaments and teams, that we always try and live by. It's something we're very proud of trying to achieve every day. So a quick read of the mission statement, and then we'll get started just in 1 minute. All right, thank you, everyone. Many of you might recognize my voice, but if you don't know, my name is Jim Wallace. I'm the Technical Director for FC Brandywine. I hold my UEFA B license, and I'm a United Soccer Coaches Master Coach. And I don't really like to talk about the Master Coach part very much. It's one of the few Master Coaches that are in the tri-state area. So I am very happy to have that award. Tonight, we asked you to do a quick question before you came onto the webinar. So the answers are through. And as you can see, player development was obviously one of the most important things to you when you select the club and decide where your player is going to play. The coach of the team, location and cost came in, and then we should have had a button for others to see what that was. So we're going to jump right in. We're going to get right to the player development part and talk about what we're trying to teach the players, why we're doing practice and training, and what sort of terminology we're doing. So tonight's goal, we've just done the welcome. We'll talk about player development. We'll talk about the teams that we're going to try and create this year in all the different stages, the schedule, how much it costs to play it, how we'll create the team, the coaching assignments, the summer camps that we have, and then we'll leave some time, hopefully at the end, for some Q&A. So as I say, to jump straight into things, into the player development stages, we do it a little bit different at FC Brandywine than other clubs do. We still believe in the 7 stages that we have since the start of FC Brandywine, which is probably maybe about 6 or 7 years ago now, since FC Brandywine started. I was with them from the start. And from the start, we've had these 7 stages in and believe that these are the proper stages when it comes to the development stages for players. Other clubs in the area you may know use Zone 1, Zone 2, and Zone 3. We definitely feel that grouping U8s, U9s, U10s, U11s, and U12s all in the same zone really doesn't make sense. We definitely feel that the stage 3, learning to train when they're playing 7v7, and a U11 and a U12 player is definitely different than a U9 player. So that's our stage 4, where we change the things we look at. We go into stage 5, and then stage 6, and then stage 7 that we were hoping to start last year, the adult futsal, but obviously with the COVID pandemic, we didn't manage to start it. So we're hopefully going to start it this fall with stage 7 and keeping everybody active for life, having some adult futsal being played in the BYC gym. So another reason why we stick to these stages and we don't go to the Zone 1, Zone 2 and talk about the multiple leagues and things that we're in is the old question that needs to be talked about all the time is winning versus development. It's something at FC Brandywine we talk about a lot. So I want to go through just a little bit on how the different stages and where the emphasis are, just so people know when they do come to FC Brandywine, what is our emphasis and what we are looking for in the different stages. So as you can see at stage 3, all of our emphasis is really on development. Yes, we want to win soccer games. Everybody wants to win soccer games. And it's not that we don't talk about winning. It's not that we don't talk about the score, because if everybody in the team does their job right, we'll score a goal. If we do our job wrong, we'll lose a goal. So we do talk about the score. We just don't put a lot of emphasis on the winning of the soccer game. It's more about trying to develop, play the game right, and build on what we've worked on in our training sessions. Sometimes that means staying a little bit quiet on the sideline to see if they can remember and retain the information and put it into play on the field. Sometimes that's taken as not coaching a lot, but it is purposeful sometimes just to see if they're remembering what to do on the field and trying to give that development to them. Soccer is really not a sport of plays and screaming and shouting. It really is the players that actually do most of the work. The next level, you can see that winning comes in a little bit more. And in the stage 4 part, the winning really comes in when we go to tournaments. So our week-to-week games in the leagues are definitely development-based. We work on something during the week, we try and put it into the game, it goes right or it goes wrong, and we make corrections next week, and we try and move on from there. When we go to a tournament, that's when we really switch gears and say, okay, we're going to try and win this tournament. We're still going to do the same things we've been working on, but just our subbing patterns and things like that might be a little bit different as we push on and try and win the trophy that the tournament gives us. The next level, when we go into U13 and U14, it's really a 50-50 split. You really can't have at this age development without talking about winning and losing games, because what we'll be working on in our training sessions really comes from what went well and what went wrong in a game. So if things go wrong in a game, as I say, that's what we'll work on in the next training session. The winning of each game is always going to be important. We're definitely going to go out at U13 and U14 with the plan, we're going to win this soccer game. It's not, hey, it doesn't matter, we're just going to develop. At U13, the plan is always, we're going to win this game. We just, again, don't put the big emphasis on if we don't win the game. We focus more on why didn't we win the game, and then how can we develop for the next part there. Into stage 6, you can see that U15 is in both levels there. That's because some U15 players are different than others. With the way that the birth year goes now, some are freshmen, some are 8th graders. So that's why they're in them 2 stages. And you can see it progresses right through to U18, U19, when it's more about winning than developing. Being a varsity coach myself, I hate to say it, but varsity soccer is definitely about winning the soccer games. There's not a lot of developing that goes on. We have the 22 players on our squad, and every game that we go into, we try and win the game. And players' playing time and decisions are made for us to win the game. So there is a progression there. I hope you can see how we try and start at stage 3, give them the good foundation, and then certainly build through to stage 6. The 5 pillars. This is, again, something a little bit different that FC Brandywine does. Many clubs will talk about the 4 corners of the game, but we believe in the 5 pillars, and it's something that we try and do to create the total soccer player and the total person, you could say. So we have technical, which is the own individual technique, passing, shooting, dribbling, heading. Tactical, which is involving you and another player. So it can be as simple as a 2-player combinations. It can be as complicated as a formation with a back 4 pushing for an offside trap. Physical, speed, strength, endurance, flexibility. We cover all them aspects. Psychological, we try to look at the focus of the players, the mental toughness. We talk about what motivation can be given them. We hold goal-setting events. We talk about confidence, visualization, and then the character of the players also. You cannot be a good soccer player just on technical, tactical, and physical. You really have to have a good character as well. So we try and do things on leadership, integrity, having confidence again, which is in both of them, confidence on the field and off the field. So these 5 pillars are what we'll talk about as we go through the teams to what we focus on in our training, in our player development. Our teams. So if we start at stage 3, our learning to train stage, and you'll see here I've changed it to 8U, 9U, and 10U. With the birth year change, that way seems to make a little bit more sense because usually it's players 9 and under, 10 and under. Unfortunately, I know any baseball coaches there will say that's the way we've been doing it for years and soccer is just catching up. But certainly with the birth year change, I think that makes a little bit more sense. So we're going to look to create 10 teams in our stage 3 learning to train. At the U8 level or the 8U level, we'll have a boys and a girls team. And then at 9U and 10U, we're looking to have hopefully 2 boys teams and 2 girls teams. An elite team and a premier team on both the boys and the girls at both 9U and 10U. Ideally, we'll be looking to hold 10 players to a team, but we'll certainly create a team that has 9 players on it, and we certainly won't turn away an 11th player should they be at the standard that they can play on the team. Now, what these teams will look to do are these 4 main chapters here. So they'll play in leagues. We'll play in the Central League, which hopefully minimizes the travel. The furthest travel that these players should be doing is about an hour, and that's the absolute furthest. And I only say that because on Sunday in the rain, I worked with our U9 girls, and we had to go to Coventry, and it was about an hour away. And the league did get an email from me saying that was too far. Usually, it's round about that Blue Route area. So we play in the spring, in the fall in the league. You can see in the tournaments, that's where that little bit of winning comes in. They'll play in a summer tournament. Our 8U and 9U teams, we don't have them playing a Columbus weekend tournament. They take the weekend off. And if we're asking why, we've found that for them ages, if they start in June and go through the summer into the fall and they go that Columbus weekend tournament, by the end of October, near Halloween, they're almost tired of soccer a little bit. We found that if we don't go to a tournament that weekend, then come the end of November when we finish, they're wanting more soccer. We definitely want to finish with them not seeing it as a chore or something they have to do, but being sad that it's actually finished for the season. We'll finish off the November tournament, and then hopefully again this year we'll be able to start up our indoor futsal tournament that obviously last year we couldn't run. All the ages will have their camp, which will be Monday 9 till 3. The camp dates will be up later, and we will also send out the camp dates to everybody on here tonight. And then they'll do their training. Girls are on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and boys are on Mondays and Wednesdays. The focus of the training sessions will be largely on the technical side. This is them and a ball and their own individual technique. And it's really trying to create that foundation of soccer players so then you can go on and do more. You can see there's very little done in the psychological part of it. The little bit of character that we do, we talk about getting ready, wearing our training t-shirt, getting a good focus on, setting our bags up smartly and being professional. The physical parts that we do are a lot of motor skills, balance, coordination, agility, these sort of ideas. And then there's a little bit of tactical stuff where we talk about the game and where you should be on the field. But the majority is in that technical part of it, them with the ball and their own individual technique. What a full year looks like for this team is like all the teams in the club will start in June. We'll go once a week in June. July, they'll step up to going 2 training sessions a week, and they'll have their camp in July. August time, they'll train twice a week, and they'll have a tournament that they'll attend, usually near the end of August. September time, it gets a little bit busier, as you can see, with 3 events per week, 2 training sessions and a game on either Saturday or Sunday. October is the biggest month because the 10Us also attend a tournament as well. Then it gets a little bit smaller into November because we finish just before Thanksgiving with a tournament. December, we pretty much take off apart from a one-day futsal tournament. January and February, we try and do 2 events per week. That's either a training session on the Saturday and a game Sunday, or if the team is playing an indoor league, it might be a game during the week and a training session at the end. Then as March and daylight saving times hits, we go back to 3 events per week, our 2 training sessions in our game, and same for April. And then we finish off going back into our tryouts in May, and then we start all over again. So that's our stage 3 learning to train schedule there, and things that we talk about in the training program and how we put the lessons together. Stage 4, 11Us and 12Us. You can see that 11U, we're looking to form hopefully 1 team in each age group, boys and girls. And then in the boys and girls at 12U, we're really going to try and market and try and get to 2 teams, which will help us when we get to 13U to make sure that we can create a strong team at 13U. So we're looking to create about 6 teams in this age group, in this stage. Again, looking at the 4 pillars, they'll have their camp. You can see from the previous slides how winning at the tournaments becomes a little bit more important. All teams in this age group, in this stage, will attend the Columbus weekend tournament, and they will also do a spring tournament. So you can see the workload of now the stage 4 training to train gets a little bit more. Girls will always be Tuesday, Thursday. Boys are always Monday, Wednesday. And you can see they'll play in the leagues in the spring and the fall. And currently we're still deciding. Last year we didn't go indoors for winter, and these age groups played outside. And it was great as long as there wasn't snow on the ground. So we're still trying to decide as a club which way we want to go for that winter time. As far as the training and the periodization, you can see we back off just a little bit on the technical side, and the tactical becomes a lot more proficient. So now we're really talking about the player, the ball, and at least one other player. whether that's two-player combinations, wall passes, give and goes, overlaps. And then the team as a whole will now be playing 9v9. We back off slightly on how much physical work we really do with them. The body's changing quite a bit during the 11U and 12U stages, so we don't do too much extra physical work with them. It's the first stage where we start a lot of the psychological components. So at camp, they will do a goal setting where they'll sit and do individual goal setting, just using the smarter way to goal set. They'll do individual ones, they'll do team ones, they'll do short-term ones, and they'll do long-term ones. And then we'll talk a little bit about self-reflection. And these are things when I see the players going around the field and I say to them, hey, how was the game? I'm not looking for them to say, we won 2-1, we lost 3-2. I'm looking for them to reflect on how they played in the game and give me that sort of answer. A little look at a schedule. It's kind of similar to what the other teams will do, but you can see October is definitely a bigger month because all the teams do attend the tournament. And then you can see March again is a bit of a busier month because all the teams do attend a spring tournament in March. But just like before, September's the 3 events. We'll start off in June with 1 a week. They'll have their tournament in August time. They'll attend a camp in July, and then we'll have the 2 events per week during January and February. In December time, we'll be off and just have the futsal tournament. Moving on to our stage 5, training to compete. So if you remember from the little winning and developing thing, this is where it's more of a 50-50 split. So you can see why we're now training to compete. So the reason behind our training sessions are to compete in the games that are coming up. We'll have our camp. All the teams attend the camp. APL, these players, this stage will now play in the APL league, and they'll play a winter and a fall league and possibly a spring. So at this point, they'll play fall. They are going to play winter and stay outdoors. We're not going to take our teams indoor. We're going to hope for a better winter than last year. And then when we get to spring, we'll decide whether the team should do a spring league, maybe a state cup competition, or what the spring should look like, depending on the success that we had in the fall and the winter. You can see on the left there, we're looking to hopefully create 6 teams in these age groups, certainly an elite and a premier team in most of the age groups. The last thing here is how it will change as far as what we create for the lessons. And you can see that the tactical part has become a big focus on what we'll be doing in our training sessions. We've really backed off in the technique part of it. All the technical training will now be done under pressure. So everything will be in a game format of a 2v2 or a 3v3. And the tactical part of talking now about 11 versus 11 on the field and how the 11 players work together. So we're really now looking at the big picture at stage 5 when we start to compete against other teams. Physical, we're back to doing some work physical. We'll do a lot of plyometrics with this age group and a lot of agility and the quick feet going through the ladder. The psychological part, we go into a little bit more with them. And definitely the character, we now start to talk about them on the field and off the field, how they should hold themselves walking to the field, how they hold themselves in defeat, how they hold when they, like this team here, win the championship. And we expect them to have good characters and good sportsmanship when they win games and when they lose games, on both sides of it. A little look at what their season looks like. It's very similar to the younger ones, only you'll see that February does become a little bit of a busier month. This year was the first year that we tried our player education Zoom sessions, and we're going to continue them next year as well. So in February time, we'll have 3 events per week, 1 training session on the Saturday, a game on the Sunday in the league, and then we'll have a Zoom session during the week where we'll talk about different tactical parts of the game. But as always, they'll start in June. They'll have 1 training session in June. We'll do the 2 in July in the camp. September, October, you can see the 3 events. They will all attend tournaments Columbus weekend. December is off for the futsal tournament, just the 1-day tournament between Christmas and New Year, and then back through and then finishing in April and the start of May. Our stage 6, training to win, as our 15U and older. These players are beginning to go possibly into high school. Some might still be 8th graders. We're looking to form hopefully 3 teams if possible, but we know that might only be 2 teams. We're very realistic about the high school ages. So a 2007 team, a 2006, and possibly We've had some interest about 2005s coming back and wanting to play with the club. Again, the 4 things that they'll take part in, they'll do a league. We have in there a league in the fall and the winter. Depending on how many freshmen we have on the team, they will hopefully be playing high school soccer, but we are looking to still do a league in the fall. We'll then do the outdoor league in the winter also, and we'll make decisions about the springtime once we get there or once we get close, depending on success and what we think the team needs to grow and become better of what we do springtime as far as leagues go. The tournaments they'll do in the early summer, so we'll be looking to hopefully do a tournament in early August. The reason for that is the camp that these players will take part in is called the High School Preparation Camp, which is usually about the first week in August before high school tryouts start on August 16th. So we usually try and have them come to the camp Monday through Thursday, 9 till 3. Then they attend a tournament that weekend. They then have a few days to rest the following week before they go into working hard for their local high schools. Our training, you can see here the boys training hard. Girls are still Tuesday, Thursday. Boys are Monday, Wednesday. Starting around about the 8th of August, the 8th graders who are on these teams will train with the other players. There'll be a combined training session just when the freshmen who are on their team are doing high school. We're not going to ask the freshmen to go to high school, do the 2-a-days and training sessions in the morning, the evening, 4 or 5 days a week, and also attend our training sessions at night. But we still will be making sure that the 8th graders are still getting good training sessions, whether it's just them and a coach, whether they join the age group younger, but we will be making sure that them 8th graders still get training through end of August. Then September, when school goes back, the freshmen will be back with the team and they will still train twice a week. How our lessons look, as you can see, it's a lot into the tactical and the lower part of it now. We're not, hopefully at this point, not having to work on technique because we've done such a great job at the early ages that now the technical part of the game is good. It's a lot of the tactical part of the game, set pieces, offside traps, back 4 zonally are all coming into it. Physically, we have to certainly work with them. Many of the high school coaches, myself included, have fitness tests that the players have to do when they arrive. One of my favorite is the beep test. The kids just love to hear the sound of beep, beep, beep. So they'll be doing that. We'll be practicing that through the season, trying to get them ready for it. The psychological part is huge. The self-reflection part is a big part that we'll go into with these age groups. We'll actually have an app or a form that they go onto their phone after each game and do a quick 5-question self-reflection. That will then be sent back to the players and they'll almost have a diary of how they've felt they're done in the games. That information will be shared with the coaches, and part of that will also go into how they'll do their training session. So if 7 or 8 players in their self-reflection have said, we were really bad at shooting, I should have scored more goals, then the coach will know, okay, I'm going to try and help them with that. And the next training session, I'm going to put a finishing training session on to try and help them with something that they were self-reflecting about. The character, we're growing and growing and growing. We're trying to have them to do more stuff in the community. We often have this age group of players come out and help with the stage 3 so they can give back to the game. And then we really push them a little bit to try and get involved in refereeing as well, which is the first real leadership role that they'll be holding. A little bit look at their year. September, October could be a little bit different. It is, there's 3 events per week. With the freshmen, depending how well it goes, they can certainly take a training session off, depending on how their workload is. If their high school is making them go 5 days or 6 days a week. Thankfully, we have a good relationship with Garnet Valley High School. So a lot of our players who are there, I know what workload they'll be getting, and they'll go 5 days a week and never 6 days a week, and sometimes just 4, depending on the workload that the club will be giving them. So there's a good relationship with the high school at the freshman level, so we can kind of monitor their workload. They will take part in November. High school usually finishes the end of October. So November time, they'll be back training and they'll get to play in a tournament end of November, around about Thanksgiving time. You can see like before February becomes a busy month, they'll be doing 3 events per week. They'll have a training session, a game, and the educational Zoom session. March time, I've got in there 2 training sessions, a game, and a tournament. We'll talk as we get closer to then about the team and whether we want to put them into a league as well. And then April time, there are many leagues that we can go in that can get us 5 or 6 games but we understand that players could be doing multiple sports. So we certainly will work with them then to make sure we're giving them the best package that we can. New Year's this year is the Stage 6 Training to Win High School Girls program. This is something that we are trying out new for the first time this year, where we want to try and simulate a little bit of the high school scene with the club part of it. So being a high school coach myself for the last 7 or 8 or 9 years, one of the differences is when they come in, the difference in the training, although technically it's sometimes the same thing, just the intensity of the training is different. So we're really trying to prepare these girls to go in and play in the varsity in the JV system. At high school, you also know there's the varsity JV, and there can be some players in JV that move up and play varsity. So we're trying to also prepare them for that sort of moving around, where it's not just your age group that you're playing with. There are younger players, there are older players, and get them used to competing against maybe a sophomore or a junior. They'll still have the 4 main parts that we talk about. They most likely will not play in a league in the fall, but they will play in a league in the winter and possibly the spring. You can see the winning part becomes huge into the winning and not developing. They'll play in a summer tournament, a November tournament, and the indoor futsal tournament. They'll attend the same high school preparation camp. They will train separate from the boys for the most part. And then their training will be on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Mondays and Wednesdays for the seasons that they have them on. Again, similar to what the boys will be doing in the Stage 6, a lot of tactical work, a lot of physical work, really helping that psychological part of it and trying to prepare the girls a little bit more for that psychological part of when they go to high school and what the high school scene looks like, and then some character development as we go. And as I said earlier, this program's a little bit new this year, so we're going to front load it with a lot of training. So the June and July time we'll have a lot of training, and we're also going to try and add in some 2-a-days to get them ready for it. So in June time, they'll start with 2 events per week, where you saw some of our other teams will start with just 1 training session. They will start in June with 2 sessions a week. July, they'll hopefully go up to 3 sessions per week. Now, we understand that some players of this age group may work and have schedules. So we are going to have 2 evening training sessions and a morning training session, again, to try and set up what that 2-a-day would look like. So the players can think about what time I need to get up, how many hours I should be sleeping, what my nutrition should be, what my hydration should be to go 1 session in the morning and 1 session in the evening. In July, they'll have the high school preparation camp. There'll also then be a tournament that they will play hopefully in late July. August time, they'll go 2 events per week up until August 16th. So we'll run them straight into when high school starts. Then you can see here for the high school break in September and October, where they'll break, there'll be no training with the club. They'll get to focus solely on the high school. They'll come back to us in November time. We'll start off with 3 training sessions. We'll do the tournament. They'll take part in December's futsal. February, they'll have the same opportunity as everybody else with the 3 events, a training, a game, and the educational Zoom session. And in March and April, they'll have a full season. But again, once we get through the fall and into that January time, we'll really look at the 2 teams and try and make a plan for what's best for them, both logistically, both ability-wise, and what that spring season would certainly look like. So to give you a few more points about the schedule, because I know the schedule is very important to you, and we're dealing a lot with basketball schedules at this point just now. So we want to make sure people know, many of the things that we will have going on and what will be happening. Our training times, boys are Monday, Wednesdays, and girls are Tuesday, Thursday. We have 2 training slots, 5:15 and 6:45, and 6:45 to 8:15. That's the 2 times that we're going to try and keep to as best we can. I can tell you the younger teams will usually go earlier, and the older teams will obviously go later. Now, if your coach happens to have a U11 and a U12 team, then obviously the U11 team will be 5:15 to 6:45, and the U12 team will be in that later slot. The 8U, 9U, and 10U, the real young kids, their timing will look like this. So the 8U will be in just for an hour. The 9U will come in for an hour and a half, and then you'll see the 10U will come in for an hour and a half as well. The 8U just do that hour, and we feel that that's just enough time again, so that when we get to late October, they're still enjoying soccer, they're still wanting to be there, and it hasn't come like a chore. But that should be, able to almost mark your calendars that in the fall, September time, girls will be Tuesday, Thursday, and if you're an older team, it's probably going to be 6:45 to 8:15 time slot. Our training locations, so everybody knows where we are. In the summertime, everything will take part at our mini complex, which is behind the BYC Field House, which is located at 41 South Thornton Road in Glen Mills. In the fall time, training on Mondays and Tuesdays will take part at Gillespie, and training on Wednesdays and Thursdays will take part at MSI Sports Village under the lights on the turf field. So that'll start the first week in September, where Mondays and Tuesdays will be at Gillespie Park. Obviously, we start to need some lights at that point, and then we'll use the turf fields at MSI on Wednesdays and Thursdays. The 8U, 9U, and 10U, we believe this fall we'll be able to go back using the field house. So on a Monday and a Tuesday, the young teams will train inside the field house so that they have a nice indoor environment with a flat surface, that they can really focus on that technique part, which is a big part of what we focus on at younger ages. And then on the Wednesday and the Thursday, they'll join the rest of the teams over at MSI. Tournaments, to try and give you an idea of where we are tournaments-wise. Summertime, we're looking to stay local, hopefully within an hour and a half to 2 hours drive. Columbus weekend in the past, we've always done an overnight tournament. We obviously didn't do that last year with everything that was going on, but we're possibly looking at maybe bringing that back in this year and giving the players that overnight experience to go and play in a Columbus weekend tournament. It won't be, 5 or 6 hours away. It'll most likely be 2.5 to 3 hours away, and you'll be able to stay just the one night there. November time, we'll stay local again, so we'll be able to drive, and then springtime, we'll stay local again so that we can minimize the amount of driving that we're having to do. June training. So in June time, all the girls' teams will train on Tuesdays, and all the boys' teams will train on Wednesdays. So all our teams, U8, 9U, 10U, 11U, 12U, all the way through, they'll all come out to the mini complex on Wednesdays, and the girls will all come out on Tuesdays. Obviously, the older ones, the stage 6, like we talked about, they'll have that second day, but certainly most of our teams will just train once a week in June, and this will be the day that the training will be on. Lastly, Sports Engine. It's the app that we certainly use to try and let everybody know where we are, what's happening. We'll try and have Sports Engine updated by May 24th with our summer schedule. We have a couple of little tournaments that we're waiting for them to come out, but hopefully by May 24th, the whole June, July, and August schedule would be in there. The fall training schedule will be fully set by June 24th. So although we do know it's Monday and Wednesday for the boys and the time slots, we'll have that completely firmed up so you know exactly where you are and what times by June 24th. And then we'll have our tournaments hopefully in place by June 6th. So we'll know Columbus weekend and November we will be going for our tournaments to allow families to plan logistically for everything that will be going on. The cost of what this will be to play. As you can see here, this is what your cost covers. Our club fee, our player registration insurance, how many leagues they play in, how many tournaments the team will be taking part in. The player development camp is included in your fees. You will see at 8U and 9U there is an indoor league up there. We're still debating if they're going to play indoor or stay outdoor, and that's why some of the league numbers will change. And then the cost that will be to play for each of these teams is a per player fee, and the number in the brackets there is what the monthly payment will look like. So the way the payment structure will be set up this year, it will be the club fee of $315, which is made up of FC Brandywine's club fee and then a $25 BYC facilities fee also. That's paid on acceptance when you accept your place on the team. And then there'll be 6 payments set up, which will come out on the 15th of each month. The payments will be June, July, August, September, October, and November. The reason that we spread it over 6 months and we do it in this first part of the month is really most of our expenses do take part in the summer, in the fall, and in that first part of the winter. So that's the reason why we do collect the money with the first 6 payments. If you do need any help with the payments, certainly contact the club and we can spread the payments out more if needed. And there will also be an option if you prefer just to do one payment. That option will be there when you register your player to join one of our teams. our team creations. So unfortunately, we will have to have some sort of tryouts this year. Our tryout dates are now set and on the website. This is our tryout dates here. Again, these will be sent out to everybody that's on the webinar tonight in an email, and they are also on the website. You'll notice we've tried to keep the theme of the boys being on Mondays and Wednesdays, and the girls being on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We do understand that players have a lot going on just now, especially players who are trying out lacrosse to see if they like it. So keeping it on the same night as the training and not asking families to come out another night is something that we thought was very important. The times may have changed quite a little bit, but certainly boys will be Monday, Wednesdays, girls will be Tuesday, Thursday, and all our tryouts again will take place at our Muni complex, which is located behind the BYC Fieldhouse. You do have to register for tryouts, so in the email that comes out, there'll also be a link to register for tryouts so that we know how many players are coming, and then you'll come, you'll receive your t-shirt with the number on the back, and you'll take part in the tryout. Our coaching assignments for this next season, unfortunately, we do have a couple of TBDs in here. We were really trying to work hard to make sure we had every team covered, but unfortunately, we do have a couple of TBDs where we're still not quite sure which coach is going to take them. We are talking to adding 2 or 3 coaches to our staff coaches this year, and we haven't fully worked out the details to certainly get them added in. But I can assure you, I'm really trying to work hard that by tryouts, whenever your tryout date is, by that week, we will be able to say to you, this is who's going to be your coach. We understand from the survey and the question we ask you to fill out that who the coach is a very important part. So we will make sure that by the tryouts for that team, we'll be able to say that this person is going to be the coach. I feel we're very lucky over the last 4 or 5 years. We've managed to put together a group of 8 or 9 staff coaches that I enjoy working with full-heartedly. Many of them are returning this following year. And as I say, we have 2 or 3 that we will be adding to hopefully join our staff. Some of them are in the Garnet Valley area. Some of them work with me on the high school teams and the middle school teams. And they do all have a minimum of their D license. And we have some former college players, semi-pro players, some former college coaches. So we have a nice, good standard of players in there. The camps that we offer. So we have the camps in here. Here's what our camp schedule looks like at FC Brandywine. So obviously our spring break camp is completed. This year was actually our highest number of players that attended the spring break camp. I think people just wanted to get out and do something after being at home so long. So we had a great number at the spring break camp. This is the player development ages that we'll be coming to. So you can see here the different ages that can come to the different weeks. The U15 2007 age group is right on that cusp. Some may be freshmen and some may be high schoolers. So we can certainly talk to each individual player about what camp they would like to attend, whether they want to come to the player development camp, whether they want to come to the high school camp. It is included in your fees to attend this camp. So all these camps are included for anybody on the team. This year, we are thinking about opening it up to outside players to possibly join, but certainly it is covered for all the players who are on the teams. Our open camps up the top there are some of the best times that I have in the summer. It's really a fun-based camp where we come and we play lots of games and really just have a lot of fun. Obviously, the player development camp is fun also, but we really do have a focus on the technical, tactical, physical part of that camp. The open camps is really just a lot of fun, and it really is, I certainly enjoy working with the open camps. You can see our high school camp, 8-2 to 8-5, Monday through Thursday, 9 till 3. Boys and girls will come in the same week. They will not train together. They will certainly be separate, but they will come the same week. And that should really work 8-2 to 8-5. Ideally, they'll play in a tournament on 8-8 and 8-9. And then high school tryouts for some of them would start on 8-16 that Monday. So that's how we try and do that date to get this last big push before they go off to do high school. Our goalkeeping camp. So we're very fortunate to have a goalkeeping director with the club. He does not hold goalkeeping nights. You know, in some of these other clubs, they have a goalkeeping director and you train with your team twice a week. And then on the third night, you attend and you go to goalkeeping. And then there's 50 goalkeepers standing there. and the goalkeepers get 3 shots and they join the back of the line. Our goalkeeping director comes around the teams more, so he really attends the team training sessions and then pulls the players out of the sessions, and is recently trying to give them a little bit more time by saying they can come at different times if they want some added goalkeeping training. We do have an additional goalkeeping camp, which is run by Jake Nicol, our goalkeeping director, and it's just an hour long. Jake tells me that goalkeeping is far harder than being a soccer player because you also have to use your arms. So it's just Monday through Thursday, and it's just a 1 hour camp for the additional fee there of $50. The last camp that we have is our intramural camp, which is based just for our intramural players in the club, and it's 8-2 to 8-5. And it's just a morning camp, 9 to 12, Monday through Thursday, and you can see the cost of $100, and it's based for really just the intramural players to come out and enjoy that camp experience. The last part of the camp program I'd like to just make sure everybody is aware is the $250 really is included as part of your fees. So when you join the team and you're paying your fees, you are paying for the camp. So hopefully everybody can attend the camp. The camps are always round about these same dates, so you really can plan the camp out for the next 2 or 3 years, so you can know where you're going to be coming and almost plan your vacation around about it. But the camps are included in the fees. One of the last things I just want to talk very quickly about is our TOPS program, which is the outreach program for soccer. FC Brandywine's been going for about 6 or 7 years now, and after the first couple of years as a club, we really decided that we wanted to do this sort of program, and we were lucky enough to have 2 coaches who were going to go out and really work to get the awards and to get it all set up. So here's a little bit of information about what TOPS is. One of the great things I think about the TOPS program is we work so closely with the high school now that it's actually became a club in the high school. So the high school recognized it as an actual physical club, and we do get a lot of players, or buddies as they're called, coming from the high school, and usually we try and pair them up with one soccer player that comes and attends. This is a great thing that the club manages to do. We obviously don't charge for it. The high school supports it by making it a club, and they also allow us to use their new wee turf field at the back so that they have the best surfaces to play on, and there's no chance of people falling. So if anybody would like information from both sides of it, either become a buddy and certainly help. As I say, we try and pair up one buddy to one soccer player. Chris Goldcamp is the person that heads that up. There's loads of information on the fcbrandywine.com website. It's probably one of the things that we're most proud that we've managed to set up and maintain through the 6 or 7 years of FC Brandywine. We'll try and go into a Q&A now. So I do have Sarah Kalish on here with me. She's going to try and help following some of the Q&As, and we'll try and answer them live if we can. If not, we'll answer some of them privately, and we will, as I say, be sending out most of this presentation to everybody that was on it. So we will try and send out all the slides about stage 4, stage 5, stage 6, especially the schedule part, so that we can try and see what we're going to be doing. So first question here is regarding summer vacations. We understand that people have summer vacations and should absolutely be taking vacations with everything that we've gone through. We'll try and set up the dates and get the dates to you as early as we can. If it comes back that 3 or 4 people on the team are missing that tournament date, then obviously we'll try and get a different date and try and set up the best we can with the players on the field. Talking about the girls 2007 age group, our 2007 girls is going to be part of our high school program. So our 2007, 6, 5, and 4 are going to take part in our high school program, where we'll be forming a varsity team and a JV team. So we won't have a 2007 girls team, a 2006 girls team, a 2005 girls team. We'll be putting them 4 ages together and looking to form a varsity team and a junior varsity team. We're trying to put players, rather than put them ages together, put them more ability and sizes together so they can have more success. The coaches are a very quite tight group of coaches. We do change the coaches around. The most we often keep teams together is for 2 years with the same coach. We have moved, we have had some coaches stay with teams for 3 years,